Hello there. I wanted to share with you a project that we did recently on a 100-year-old house in the Brookside area of Kansas City. The builder of this house had left my poor clients without a handrail on the second floor stairway, which enabled them, if they had chosen to come downstairs in the middle of the night, step off into space and break both legs before breakfast. So we thought it was a good idea to give them a handrail, and they came to the right place. So I met with the customers, and the first thing they told me about the handrail that they wanted was that it had to be natural. They didn't want anything artificial or factory made. But I already had guessed this because when I walked up to their front door, this was the entryway to their house. I find it hard to imagine that anyone with a front yard like this would want anything artificial in their home. So we started with the idea of something natural, something organic. And after kicking ideas around for a while, we came up with the concept of a flower. Yeah. But that was the idea because I remember you said organic, and that you wanted an organic design. And one of the things we were thinking about was wood burl, or an old mesquite, log,
right,
or something like that.
Some kind of weathered piece of wood,
right,
or something.
Right.
Not machined looking.
Exactly right. We didn't want something, straight and square and looked like it came out of a factory. So
well, and you made a drawing when we were fiddling around here.
Yeah, you made a sketch.
You had the newel post in the middle, but you had this kind of curve with those kinds of legs. Right. And I looked at it and I said, "There's the flower right there. You don't need a newel post."
Yeah, that's
right.
That's right.
It was there.
Yeah, and that's when we gave up the idea of the newel post and realized
I think that was a good move.
Because the real story is that curve.
So this is the exciting, messy, and ultimately satisfying process of design.
And I did like the design process where we talked about how we wanted it to feel, and we got the idea of organic, we got the idea of a flower, and you had the idea of maybe a flower-shaped newel post, but then Jack said, "No, that's the story right there. That's the vine or whatever.
That's a calla lily.
That's a calla lily or a vine or something. That curve that it makes."
Yeah. I think you guys named it, basically. So once we'd made that decision, the design was ready. The only problem now is, how am I going to build it? So I decided to make a scale model in order to figure that out, as well as to get a sense of what the finished handrail would look like, much easier to visualize than a drawing or a sketch. Then it was on to the building. As you can see, I took an old concrete form and wrapped 18 strips of wood around it, 2 at a time, in the shape that we wanted the handrail to be. So it took a week in total to get this glued up. At one point it started to feel more like bear wrestling than woodworking. So these are some of the tools that I used to shape that ungainly animal-like thing. Chainsaw. You'd be surprised how handy this thing comes in. Rasps and files, all the way down from stuff that'll take the hair off your arm to the finest little rasp. Spoke shaves, hand planes, and finally, miles and miles and miles of sandpaper. And here's the completed flower handrail. After 100 years, my customers can finally feel safe on their own stairwell. And true to its namesake, it's like climbing a flower. You start at the sturdy, solid base, climb up the stem, past the leaves, and pretty soon you're on the flower itself, the calla lily, which transports you up into the realm of heaven.
People are always amazed because they think that you must have carved it out of a giant piece of wood.
Yeah, well, that was the effect that we were going for, right?
Yeah.
And
you achieved that very well.
Right.
Yeah. It's a real pleasure to go up and down the stairs holding on to it. I just like the way, I feel like I'm polishing it with my hand every time I go up and down.
Yeah. So the flower handrail project was just one of many that I've done over the years for customers, each one unique, one of a kind, not to be duplicated. And I really prize the kind of projects that other people don't want to tackle. Special, a little bit of a challenge, and something that wants to be natural. That's right up my alley. After all, I'm here in the woods. Everything I'd make is made out of wood, trees, so I try to return the favor. So if you or somebody you know wants that special project for their house, give us a call. You dream, I build.